Tyler Johnson was a man who took great pride in his resourcefulness and independence. At 34 years old, he had worked relentlessly to build a comfortable life for himself. His cozy home, tucked away in a quiet suburban area, was a reflection of his dedication. Tyler was tech savvy, always seeking ways to streamline his life, and his electric vehicle was among his proudest acquisitions. Eco friendly, cost effective, and a testament to his forward thinking approach. Yet, over the past few months, Tyler noticed something strange. His electricity bill kept climbing, despite his efforts to conserve energy. Initially, he chalked it up to seasonal shifts or a possible meter glitch. But when the bills continued to surge, he decided to dig deeper. Tyler installed a state of the art energy monitor and a discreet security camera near his outdoor electrical outlet, which he occasionally used to charge his car. One cool evening, while reviewing footage from his camera, Tyler saw something that made his blood boil. A woman he recognized only vaguely from the neighborhood. A middle-aged blonde who favored clothing more suitable for someone half her age, was sneaking onto his property. She glanced around nervously before plugging her sleek luxury electric car into his outdoor outlet. Tyler watched in disbelief as she casually leaned against her vehicle, scrolling on her phone as though she had every right to be there. Tyler replayed the footage multiple times, feeling his frustration mount. He'd heard stories about electricity theft, but never expected it to happen to him. Determined to put a stop to it, he decided to confront her the next time she appeared. The following evening, Tyler kept a close watch on his security feed. Sure enough, just after sunset, the woman returned. This time, Tyler was prepared. He stepped outside, maintaining a calm but firm demeanor, and approached her as she plugged in her car. "Excuse me," Tyler said, his voice steady and authoritative. "Could you explain what you're doing?" The woman, who introduced herself as Lucy, froze briefly before forcing a bright smile. "Oh, hi there. I was just borrowing your outlet for a quick charge. I hope you don't mind." Tyler crossed his arms. "Actually, I do mind. You've been stealing my electricity for months, and it's running up my bill." Lucy's smile vanished and her tone turned defensive. "Stealing? That's a bit harsh. I was only borrowing. You should be thankful I'm even in this neighborhood. Plenty of people wouldn't want to live here, you know." Tyler raised an eyebrow at her attempt to shift blame. "Thankful? You're trespassing and stealing from me. I have everything on camera." He pulled out his phone, showing her the footage of her sneaking onto his property and plugging in her car. Lucy's cheeks flushed with anger. "You're harassing me. I don't have to stand here and listen to this. I'm calling the police." Tyler remained composed. "Go right ahead. I'll show them the footage, too." Clearly taken aback by his confidence, Lucy fumbled for her phone, her hand trembling as she dialed 911. "Hello? Yes, I need help. There's a man here threatening me. He's acting very aggressive, and I'm afraid for my safety." Tyler shook his head, unsurprised. He'd seen this play out before. People like Lucy, who twist the facts and play the victim when they're actually in the wrong. He kept recording the exchange, ensuring every word was documented. Lucy's voice climbed in volume as she fired more accusations. "You people are always trying to intimidate others. I don't feel safe around you." Tyler stayed silent, letting her rant. He wasn't about to let her racism or entitlement distort the truth. Lucy clutched her phone dramatically, her tone growing ever more frantic. "Yes, officer, he's huge and intimidating. I don't know what he's capable of. Please hurry." She shot Tyler a smug glance, as if daring him to refute her story. He simply continued filming, capturing her every word and gesture. Her sneering remarks about "you people" were clear evidence of her bias. Tyler kept his voice calm. "You can say anything you want, Lucy, but the proof doesn't lie. You've been stealing from me, and now you're trying to flip the narrative. It won't work." Lucy's face contorted with outrage. "How dare you accuse me of stealing? I'm a law-abiding citizen. You're the one who's out of line." She crossed her arms, eyes full of disdain. "I don't get why you're making this into such a big deal. It's just a little electricity. You should feel honored that I'm using your outlet at all." Tyler shook his head at her audacity. "This has nothing to do with the amount of electricity. It's about respect. You can't trespass on my property, steal from me, and then act like I'm the villain." Lucy opened her mouth to retort, but the sound of approaching sirens interrupted her. She hastily wiped invisible tears from her cheeks, adopting a distressed pose. Tyler, meanwhile, stood tall, phone still recording. He knew the real show was about to begin. The patrol car pulled up quietly, lights flashing but sirens off. Two officers climbed out, faces unreadable as they approached Tyler and Lucy. Lucy pounced on them immediately, voice trembling with fake terror. "Oh, thank goodness you're here! This man has been harassing me, following me around, yelling at me. I'm terrified." She pointed shakily at Tyler, her eyes wide with contrived fear. One officer turned to Tyler, speaking in a level voice. "Sir, could you tell us what's going on?" Tyler nodded, calm and respectful. "Certainly, officers. I have surveillance footage showing this woman coming onto my property without permission and plugging her car into my outlet. She's been doing it for months. Tonight I confronted her. She called you, claiming I threatened her." He held out his phone and played the video of Lucy's theft and the energy monitor data that proved unauthorized use. The officers observed carefully, their expressions shifting from curiosity to mild amusement as the truth became clear. Lucy, seeing how the situation was unfolding, attempted another interruption. "That's not how it went at all. He's twisting everything. He's big and scary. Just look at him." One officer raised a hand to silence her. "Ma'am, please let us review the evidence first." Tyler then played audio of Lucy's racist tirade, her scornful remarks ringing out loud and clear. The officers exchanged a hardened glance. "Ma'am," said the second officer with a firm tone, "the footage and recordings clearly show you trespassing and stealing electricity. Your comments, too, are entirely inappropriate." Lucy paled, her self-assurance crumbling. "But I was frightened. I didn't mean any of that. I was just upset." The first officer shook his head. "That doesn't excuse it. You're fortunate he's not pressing formal charges for the trespassing and theft." Tyler spoke up, voice steady. "All I want is for her to reimburse me for the stolen electricity and stay off my property. That's it." The officers nodded, clearly impressed by Tyler's calmness and organized evidence. Lucy, now visibly humiliated, glared at the ground. The officers turned to her with stern expressions. "Ma'am, you realize stealing electricity is illegal, right? We could file charges for that and for trespassing." Lucy flushed bright red, stammering, I didn't think it was a big deal. It's just a small amount of electricity. He's blowing it out of proportion." The second officer crossed his arms. "That's beside the point. You trespassed, stole from him, and then tried to play the victim. That's unacceptable." A small crowd of neighbors had gathered on the sidewalk, drawn by the commotion. They eyed Lucy with disapproval. Some shook their heads, and a few whispered to each other. When word got out about Lucy's racist remarks, the murmurs turned to outright condemnation. "I always knew something was off about her," someone muttered. "She's acting like she's the victim when she's the one stealing," another added. Lucy, seeing the entire neighborhood turn against her, grasped for a last shred of dignity. "You don't understand. I've been harassed by him for weeks. I'm truly the one who's scared here." But nobody believed her. Several neighbors called her out directly. "We saw the video, Lucy. This is on you. Those hateful comments you made are absolutely disgusting." Lucy seemed to shrink under their collective disdain. Even the officers showed little sympathy now. "Ma'am," said one officer, "you need to own up to what you did. Theft is theft, and racism won't be tolerated in this neighborhood." Lucy wanted to defend herself, but any attempt would only dig a deeper hole. She'd been caught in a lie, and her fake tears had backfired. She looked to Tyler, who quietly stepped forward. "Officers," he said calmly, "I'm not looking to press legal charges. I just want her to pay for the electricity she took and promise to stop trespassing." Both officers nodded approvingly. "That's quite fair of you, sir." They turned to Lucy. "You'll reimburse him for the electricity usage and stay off his property. If this happens again, we'll take more serious action." Lucy, cheeks burning in embarrassment, mumbled, "Fine. I'll pay him." She refused to look anyone in the eye. Tyler offered her a detailed statement of his energy bills, highlighting the suspicious spikes. "This covers what you owe. I expect payment by the end of the week." Lucy snatched the paper, her face blazing. Without another word, she stormed to her car. Neighbors watched her go, their eyes following her with disapproval. The moment she drove off, the bystanders broke into applause, praising Tyler for his patience and thoroughness. One of the officers shook Tyler's hand, commending him on his composure and solid evidence. "You handled yourself extremely well," the officer remarked. "A lot of people would have lost their temper in your position." Tyler nodded modestly. "I just wanted the truth to come out." As the police departed and the neighbors drifted back to their homes, Tyler felt a wave of relief. He had stood his ground, exposed Lucy's lies, and earned his community's respect. Let's take just 5 seconds to ask you to subscribe for more updates and stories like this. Ready? Later that night, Tyler installed a lock on his outdoor outlet to prevent any future electricity theft. While tightening the final screw, a neighbor passed by and quipped, "Guess Lucy won't be sneaking free power from you anymore, huh?" Tyler let out a good-natured laugh. "Some folks never learn, but at least we got an interesting story out of it." His neighbor chuckled, giving him a friendly pat on the shoulder. "You handled that like a champ." Mad respect. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Tyler stood in his driveway, a quiet sense of pride filling him. He had confronted entitlement and bigotry with composure and smarts. In doing so, he had not only safeguarded himself, but also reinforced the unity and values of his neighborhood.